Why, hello and good morning, everyone. It is your future favorite dark novel writer, Allie Ryerson here. And on today's episode, we are talking about love, but I want to bring to light a very specific celebrity, Halsey. And I'm going to talk about her and how she talks about love. And then I'm going to come in with a little bit of my own perspectives and kind of digest what she's been preaching as of late. So grab your beverage and sit down. So I was scrolling on TikTok like a lot of us are doing nowadays, and I follow a very specific page where they like to post a lot of quotes, and I think the page is called Bible Quotes, but they post quotes from celebrities and a lot of their different ideologies throughout their lives and from the things that they've learned. We all know Will Smith, as an example, is very good at portraying his life lessons in a very elegant way. And I was scrolling through TikTok and I came across Halsey's quote. And Halsey's quote kind of struck a wrong chord with me because she was trying to convey that love is a lie. Love is nothing but a lie, and the feelings of passion, excitement, and butterflies that go around falling in love is completely false and just your fight or flight response telling you to run. And this is troubling for a lot of different reasons. We live in a society where we look up to celebrities the most. And if 2016 has taught me anything, we are more equipped and more ready to listen to a celebrity more so than our own politicians. Especially if you are of the younger generation, younger people are a lot more persuadable, especially if their favorite singer is saying something that they could potentially relate to. So when she is on a very major platform like Twitter or on any podcast saying, if you feel excited about someone, then it is your gut telling you to run. And I think that is 100% false. And the audacity she has to say that in the first place is beyond me. When we think about love, at least for me, my mind jumps to romantic movies. My mind jumps to that push and pull, that struggle, that romance. But above all, my mind jumps to these four words: passion, understanding, compatibility, and chemistry. And to be more romantic, it's when you look at someone for the first time and they give you that shock in your stomach, the feeling that your breath could be taken away. That is the strongest form of passion and love that, in my own experience, has been nothing but bliss. True love is not derived from drama. It's not derived from toxicity. It is not derived from anything other than feeling pure respect and understanding along with passion from your partner. And that is where the difference is. Not passion's overrated, not chemistry's overrated. Because when you find true love, there is no sudden obstacle to make you believe that they are not the one. And all of the relationships that I've been in that were very toxic was born out of drama. There was nothing but drama at the very start. And I think that's probably what Halsey was trying to get at, that if you feel the adrenaline, that fight or flight response, because adrenaline goes with the fight or flight response. Passion and chemistry go with falling in love, and they're very different with a fine line. And you have to look at the whole package instead of just the black hole of what your feelings are telling you. But let's go back to Halsey's very strange quote for a second. She said, if you feel excitement, leave. If you feel passion, leave. She's only saying this because all of her relationships have failed. And I am willing to bet that all of her relationships were very disingenuous. Something has happened in them to make her believe that love is a scam and that you should just find someone to settle down with who gives you contentment. Contentment is one of the worst things we can do in our life, because as soon as you feel contentment towards anything, your relationship, your job, family, doesn't matter what it is, you are no longer striving for the best foot forward. And knowing of what we know about Halsey, observing and seeing the person she chooses to be and the person she chooses to feed us, because there could be a smoke and black mirrors with her. She could be a very different person behind closed doors, but we don't know. And in some ways, that could be a little worse, especially for what I'm about to say. But the person she puts forward is a very toxic way of living and being. She's a badass. She's a rebel. She doesn't give a fuck. She destroys things. She's a nightmare. She is hard to be with. And yet she is prideful for all of it. So much to the point, her last concept album was titled, If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power. I mean, what do you think your relationships are going to look like? What do you think is going to happen when it burns and falls apart? And I started to notice this path of self-destructive tendencies with her when she put out her song titled Sorry. The music video is almost a one-take video of her standing in almost kind of a nuclear wasteland. You know, buildings are burning around her. She's dirty. There's only one other being in this video, and it is a man who appears to be unconscious. I'm not going to say dead because he's probably not dead, but he's unconscious and he's leaning over the steering wheel and he's out of it while she gets out and she's standing and she's looking around almost appalled at the damage that she's done. This is the symbolism here. And then the song goes on. She says, "Oh, I'm sorry to my future lover. This is who I am. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. If you choose to be in a relationship with me, it's just going to end this way. I'm sorry." And even in the song, she lists very specific toxic things. "Oh, I missed your call for months, it seems. Don't realize how mean I can be. Sometimes I can treat the people I love like jewelry, but most of the time, I don't." She is acknowledging her own destructive behavior and saying sorry for it, and then continuing on down the path of not healing whatever it is that is making her this way. She has a very narcissistic tendency view of being, okay, well, I'm this way and you have to accept it. And if you can't, then that's your problem, not mine, especially when I have warned you. And when I was in high school, in the beginning of my college years, I related a lot to her because I was the lethal one, and all of my lethal tendencies were coming from a place of complete trauma. And I walked around with that energy. Looking back now, I'm not surprised that none of my relationships then didn't work out. Because what do you think is going to happen when you take pride in being that person? Who do you think you're going to attract? What kind of people, what kind of friends do you think you're going to have? And so when Halsey is portraying herself as this harmful person, but then turns around and is shocked that she can't find love, and if she can't find love, she wants power, what kind of message is that sending to not only any future potential lovers she could have had, but to all of the very influential young people, young adults, and people that look up to her? What kind of relationships do you think they are going to have? After her song Sorry, she then puts out a song called Nightmare. And I'm sure we've all heard this song and have jammed to it. I've jammed to it. It's such a good song, and I'm not going to stop listening to it. But in this particular song, she's not only saying, oh, I'm still going to say sorry, oh, I'm still destructive. She is taking it to the next level and calling herself a nightmare. Because who wants to be with a nightmare? And not only is she calling herself a nightmare, but she is blaming others for the reason why she is now apparently like this. And playing the name game only carries you so far. It only gets you so much sympathy until people start to realize you need to start taking responsibility for your own actions. Why did you trust his lies? Why couldn't you see his lies? Was he just that good at being a manipulator? Or was it your insecurities overshadowing your common sense? I've been following her for a long time, ever since her song Castle and New Americana. I've loved the vibe of her music. It was very destructive, like I've said before, and a lot of people probably related because they were also destructive themselves. And this is where the power of energy comes in. I fully believe what you put out into the universe, you will get back. Whether that's negative or positive energy, it will get returned back to you in one form or another. Same thing with karma. You do something wrong, well, you're going to feel that wrongfulness back at you in a different way. So her taking pride in being a nightmare, she's only going to date nightmare people. She is only going to date the most insecure motherfuckers. And she is only going to get pain as a result of her decisions. Because at the end of the day, now it's all up to her. If something really bad has happened to her, especially when she was younger, and she's been struggling to heal and overcome that, well, you can no longer blame anybody else but you for not looking deep within and taking the necessary steps to heal. Because you can heal, even if you feel like the world is crushing you. If you let that energy consume you in every decision that you make, you are only going to be stepping further away from the progress you need to be making. No matter how painful it feels or how uncomfortable being happy makes you, there is nothing more sinful than allowing your life to waste away with feeling anything less than joy. We attract and we keep the love we think we deserve, and it's going to be a direct reflection on who you are. So if her exes have only lied to her, have only beat on her, it's only because she's lying to herself and beating up on herself. I listened to her the most when I was in that headspace. And now I don't even go to her albums anymore. I don't listen to her anymore because I'm no longer where she is. And what we're seeing is the lack of growth on her part. Looking back on my experiences, of course, no one experience is going to be the same to somebody else. We all experience things differently. But back when I took pride in walking around with my hands and fists, growing up under somebody who is a nightmare themselves and has somehow found someone that accepts that for who they are, I didn't have the best examples to go off of. I thought if I was broken, then I was only going to stay broken. And anybody who ends up with me needed to understand that I'm not going to be a good person. And if they can't handle it, then they can leave. They can just accept me for who I am. And that's complete garbage way of thinking. Only within the past couple years have I really tried to make sure the progress of my healing was being continued in a positive way, and that I wasn't about to fall back and go backwards on the progress that I have already made. And especially with the people I started to date, the abusive, the manipulator, a guy cut me once. They all came to me at the worst moments of my life. Going back to what I was saying, a relationship derived out of drama. When you start a relationship off of adrenaline, then it's not a good relationship. Adrenaline and love are different. Adrenaline goes with the fight or flight response. Passion and chemistry go with love, and the difference can be seen if only you are ready to see it. You need to be healed to the point you know the red flags. You know what good is and what malicious tendencies are. And that's how you can get a better understanding on if the feelings you are feeling towards that person is passion and chemistry, or is it indeed my adrenaline kicking in, telling me to get the fuck out? My last relationship is a really great example of this. At first, I thought it was love. He checked off my boxes, covered in tattoos, musician, ambitious, funny, quirky, outgoing. He already had kids. That's something that's kind of important to me because I don't want kids. He was so wonderfully checking off all my boxes. I was like, this is it. This is what I'm feeling. This is love. This is attraction. This is compatibility. This is everything I've ever wanted. But we started in the worst way possible. He was still living with his ex, but all the while he was still telling his ex that he loved her. But he made me believe that he had to do that because she had the power to put him away at any time, because that is how crazy she was. And I've met her, and she's crazy to the T. I don't know how she goes through her days. I don't know how she makes it. But he wasn't lying in that. However, we started off of that drama. He was an alcoholic because of her. He smoked 2 packs a day because of her. He was no longer doing his passions because of her. He came from back-to-back toxic relationships. He's a felon. He's in prison right now for aggravated assault charges. And those are red flags. Never for a second believe that if there is serious drama in the relationship, it's not always situational. He was just as toxic as she was, And that is why they got together in the first place. They were one and the same. But I thought because he checked off all my boxes, and regardless of his felony charge, he never did any of that to me. He actually treated me in one of the best ways I've ever been treated in all of my experience of being in relationships. And because of those things combined, I thought that was love, and I was done. I was set for life. But it was adrenaline, and it was fight or flight because of his situation and how we started and the people he continued to choose to hang around him. To no shocker, all of his friends were just as toxic. But he was a genuinely good person. And that is how you can see that trauma takes us over in the worst way. Unhealed wounds cripple us to the point that it can change everything completely for the worst. He walked into his dad's dead body because of suicide at 12 or 13 years old. His mom is a crackhead. One of his brothers, he has several, one of his brothers did bad shit to him and his sister. And when you take all of that he allowed all of that to shape him into the person he became today. Because yes, all of that's painful. All of that's traumatic. But at the end of the day, you take responsibility for your actions. And this is something we no longer do, even as a society, for the smallest things. So once he went to jail and now he's off to prison, I told myself that I needed to take a huge fucking step back and really try and understand why I kept getting people like this. And when I started to move forward, and moving forward of being few years clean from my mother's narcissism, from not having friends who all they do is drink and play video games, to only having people in my life that feed me, and me being independent and being alone and living alone and diving into my passions, writing, art, scrapbooking, whatever. I took the time for myself and I cried. I broke down. I allowed myself to be the worst way alone, and that released every weight off my shoulder. And once I was able to finally come up for air and really start breathing again, that's when true love entered into my life. That's when I only started to connect with the best people, the good people. I was no longer taking pride in being a nightmare and blaming others for how I turned out. Because life sucks. It doesn't matter what stage you're in. Life sucks. But you choose how to navigate it and how the worst experiences can affect you. Halsey is not growing. She's not healing. She is not writing music that feeds others the best way possible. She's not being with people who genuinely care about her or even themselves. Machine Gun Kelly, I bet he hates himself. And as a result, she's probably sadder than she's ever been, and she's probably hoping that her new album, If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power, will bring some sort of resolution to her life. It won't. And we will probably continue to see this Halsey for many years to come, because unfortunately, it takes such a long time for people to come to the realization that they are the problem, but they are also the solution to their own choices and to their own happiness in life. So when she says love is the feeling that you need to run, is completely false. And she shouldn't be putting her faults onto society just because she couldn't figure out how to keep love. Butterflies do not equal danger. You should be so excited about the person you're with. You should want to talk to them every day, see their beautiful smile, hear their beautiful stories. You should want to be wrapped up in each other's arms, not because of being close, but because they bring you joy and a safe haven. That's true love. And true love is derived from no drama. Ladies, stop with the drama. Boys, stop with the drama. Because now we're just all confusing ourselves. I do hope Halsey comes to a resolution sooner rather than later. Because all I see in her music and in her face is pain. Thank you so much for listening and taking the time to engage with my content. I want to hear what you guys think true love is down in the comments. And if you want to personally talk with me further on this topic, send me a message on Twitter. All of my social media links are down below in the description of this video. And I'll even go as far as creating a group discussion if I get enough people interested. Thank you so much. Heal from your trauma. Go with love. Go with guidance. But above all, stay sexy, everyone. I'll see you next week.